Martin Fisher. I'm one of the organizers on the organizing committee for BSidesATL. I'm really glad that you managed to hang out with us all day. It's been, I think, a pretty amazing day. I want to thank the rest of the coordinating committee. There's Mike and Nick's around here somewhere. It's been huge working with all these folks. BSidesATL Atlanta is a very special thing. I also want to give a very big thank you to the red shirt team from KSU. You guys did a fantastic job today. I'll make sure Andy knows, and you get like a little special extra note on your next exam. So let's talk. So I manage IT security at Northside Hospital. It is the baby factory. All right. The people I work for, they do healthcare. They don't do IT security. And yet it's my job to essentially sell the program. And as I talk with people, I realized we're not good at this. So take a moment, examine yourself, right? In our community, people see themselves in a lot of different ways, right? And if you look within our community, we have these sub-communities. And these sub-communities, sometimes people who think they're like the cyber hacker type, right? We all know these guys and girls that they're just cyber hackers, right? And ninja elite people. Some folks see themselves as a friendly superhero out there to save the day and be happy with the business. And I just tried this off. I'm doing awesome today. And lastly, we have the iconoclast. It's the person that no one understands, and deep in his heart, he has desires to rule the world. Right? Generally, all of us fall into one or more of these things. But the issue is that the people in the business that we deal with don't see us the way we see ourselves. They see us as wizards. Let me explain. We dress funny, right? We really do. We have strange implements that do bizarre and amazing things that they don't understand. And most importantly, we have women in our community who are generally smarter, faster, better than the guys, kick ass harder, but always get second billing. What is up with that? So this is me. We'll talk more about how you can get in touch with me. One thing, I do the Southern Fried Security Podcast, the #1 Atlanta-based information security podcast. Andrew, nothing personal. And it's something I'm really proud of. Yvette Johnson is here, who's also on the podcast, and she's actually supposed to be doing interpretive dance right now. There it is. See Yvette if you want like a sticker. We have those. So, shall we begin? And let's talk through this thing. So, the first thing that we need to do is get rid of this language that we use amongst ourselves, which is really effective and really efficient. The challenge is that when we turn around and use that with the people in the business, it sounds like this. Take a moment. Absorb. I know I'm crossing multiple meme things, but this is how we sound to the business, right? Which causes them to look at us with this expression on their face, right? And in the past, that was okay. Right? If you've been in information security for a while, there were the days when the business just threw metric boatloads of money at us to make problems go away. And we said magic words, right? And we bought all these shiny boxes that had blinky lights, right? And had engineers with questionable personal hygiene that managed it all in the data center. Did it work? No. So how do you fix it? All right? You need to be able to explain the processes and the technologies we use to your organization in ways they understand. The #1 way people learn, and if you're a parent, you know this, it's by analogy. So I'm in healthcare, right? So I had a conversation my second week at the hospital talking about Signature Antivirus because we were about to do a pretty substantial renewal with our Signature AV company. And not my CIO, but my COO said, I read an article that said it wasn't worth it. Why are we doing this? I have a great chief operating officer. And I use this. Signature AV is like the flu vaccine. It works great for the strains they planned for it, but the other strains that have mutated out, not so much. This year's flu vaccine is only about 15% active, 50% effective against the majority of the strains that are going around. Does that sound like the antivirus that we actually put on our endpoints? Very much so. Also, you can use real life as an analogy. I was asked in a previous employer what intrusion detection was all about. And it's like a gate guard, right? She'll look at the cars coming through and she'll follow the procedure. But if someone really wants to get past the gate guard, they can. Isn't that right, Eric? So, what do you have to do as well if you're going to communicate effectively with the business? Please, for all that is holy, if you only hear one thing today, hear this. You must fight the urge to prove you're the smartest person in the room. This is the number one cardinal sin all of us, me included, do on a regular basis. And we do it inside the community, and that's okay, right? Because there's this one-upsmanship we love to do to each other, right? And that's okay, right? You start doing this with, the HR director or the supply chain people, and you're not seen as someone who's fun to be around, you're a dick. Right? The next thing we need to do is reduce the amount of FUD in the environment. Right? And I'm looking at vendor types. So, recognize these? There's about to be the most ragey episode of the podcast ever. We recorded a commercial for a new movie that's going to get released on April 1st, and that'll be in the next episode. But let's face it, we start talking about heartbleed and shell shock and poodle and freak and all this other crap that's in our environment. The media, the mass media is picking it up, and our business people are seeing it, right? And it's completely unfiltered. It's 99% utter bullcrap. And what's happening is some of us are like going, wow, my boss is scared. The CFO is scared. Excellent. I feel new ideas coming on. Don't do that. So what should you do? Because at the end of the day, if you keep doing this, Moaning Myrtle, remember her? She was the one who bitched and whined in the bathroom all the time, and no one went to go talk to her. Except Harry ended up there a bunch of times, sucked through. Yeah. Okay, but no one wants to be around this person, ever. So what do? One of the coolest things in healthcare is we have this concept called the S-bar. Where's Carpinello? He left. He left. And he used to work for me. All right, S-bar is a way that in healthcare, when patients are being transitioned from one location of care to another, for example, out of the back of an ambulance into the emergency department, when the shift changes on a med-surg floor, they talk about the situation, what's going on with the patient, the background, how did we get here, an assessment, an unemotional assessment, and then a recommendation of what you have to do to deal with the patient. I actually have my team where I see Jake out of going, yeah, I see what you did to me. I'm having my folks do this. This is how we talk about information security in my department. It's amazing how you take all of the stupid hype out of the conversation by going situation, background, assessment, recommendation. And if you can, even if you don't talk specifically this way to your business leadership, if you think through it this way, you start becoming incredibly credible. Right? Andy.
How often is the recommendation smothering the user with pillows?
In healthcare, we frown on smothering people with pillows. So in my environment, and we'll talk more about that in a second. You're getting ahead of me. All right. The next thing we have to do is we got to realize what our mission is in information security. This Dilbert makes me cry and laugh at the same time, because how many of us have worked for or with or had someone like Mordak work for us? I have. How many of us have fired Mordak? It was awesome. So you need to be able to get context, right? You need to be able to talk to the business in terms they understand. So if you don't get invited to the meetings with the business anymore, they avoid you. Like they see you come into the hallway, and like guys are going in the women's restroom to get away from you, or your emails just go out into the ether. You might be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. How many of you read the Phoenix Project? Remember John at the beginning of the book? Don't be John. Don't be John. So let's talk about goals and objectives for the Information Security Department. Again, I run the Information Security Department at Northside Hospital. We generate more new people in our building than any other hospital in the United States except one, Parkland Regional in Dallas, Texas. 25 to 27,000 babies a year come out of our Women's Center. It is awesome. All right. So we have 3 hospitals, 154 different locations, 13,000 employees, tens of thousands of biomedical devices. These are Windows CE devices, Windows XP devices that are connected to machines that are connected to people. So, given what you know, and you're all CISSPs, right? What is the #1 mission of the Information Security Department? Yeah, people have heard the speech before. It's ensure patient safety. When you come to my hospital, when you come to my cancer center, when you come to my radiology clinic, or you're just visiting your family doctor, you're not coming there to get hurt by a malfunctioning infusion pump, a badly acting x-ray machine, or a computerized physician order entry system that can't dispense the correct prescriptions, right? There's this concept in healthcare called sentinel events. How many of you ever heard of hospitals like amputating the wrong leg, removing the wrong? These are sentinel events, right? And they're huge. My goal, my #1 goal, is to protect patient safety. So what's #2? What's #2? People who've worked for me in the past, you can't answer this. What's #2? Seriously. Communication, got to vote for that. What else? Data, privacy. All good answers, all wrong. Cyber. Next is quality patient care. So, I don't want you to get hurt or killed. That's #1. But I also don't want the quality of the patient care for the almost 2 million encounters a year that we do at Northside Hospital to be less than what that caregiver needs them to be. I cannot put the security environment between the person, the physician, the mid-level, whatever caregiver, between that physician and you. Do you want a host IDS system between the physician's decision to treat you and your kid? If you do, DFAX is just down the street here. We'll go visit them. You don't want that. So then #3, ensure the security of sensitive data. So I actually briefed this to our directors meeting, and when I threw the goal #1 up was ensure patient safety, there were audible gasps because they were assuming that I was coming in as the brand new security guy to preach fire, doom, damnation, and destruction on them, to talk about PCI, HIPAA, all the things, all the cybers, right? But I'm about patient safety. So when I start talking about patient safety, I talk about information security in the context of patient safety. One, they immediately assume it's a trap, right? But it's not, because I start making, we make decisions knowingly in Northside that if you were on the outside, so you're reducing your security posture. Maybe I am, but I'm getting out of the way of quality, of impacting the quality of patient care. And I've got these other compensating controls I'm going to turn on to make up for it. Now, over time, you gain credibility because your goals and objectives are aligned with the goals and objectives of the business. This is exactly what physicians care about, right? There's no card more powerful to play in healthcare than the patient safety card. Now, how does that work for me? So, some of you may have heard me rant about biomedical devices. Now, biomedical and SCADA systems are very close kissing cousins. So just to give you a sense of how things work, we talked a little about CE devices, XP devices that are attached to people. There are brands of infusion pumps, and these are the pumps that are connected to multiple vials, which go through, does chemotherapy for people. Chemotherapy sessions can last anywhere from 90 minutes to 4.5 hours. These are XP Service Pack 1 machines, all right, embedded. There's no AD, there's no security controls on them whatsoever. So, how many of you are red team people or pen testers? Okay, you get it on a network, on a segment, what's the first thing you're going to do? Scan what's there. And you find an XP Service Pack 1 machine, right? Your eyes widen a little bit, right? Your eyes dilate, you get a little bit moist under the armpits. You're like, I have like 16 bazillion exploits I haven't had a chance to use in like 7 years. You line them up, you hit the Metasploit button, and you just attack it. Now, you had no idea it was an infusion pump, right? But you just dumped 4 hours of chemotherapy drugs into a person in 7 minutes. What just happened? You killed somebody. Because well, that wasn't your intention. Your intention was to go up to the domain controller, right? That's the thing. So when I talk about biomedical devices being patient safety issues, I'm gaining a huge amount of traction inside the environment because it's scaring my leadership. It's scaring my physicians because they get that, right? I laid that scenario out. They get it. And we are making huge investments to fix this problem. So what do you think? Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, bullshit. We are information security people. We care about confidentiality, integrity, availability. I have a CISSP on my wall that says so. I know this because I've interviewed people for positions on my team who essentially tell me this. None of them work for me, right? What I'm saying is that some of these people want to be the cyber ninja. They want to be the friendly superhero. They want to be the iconoclast. And they can't imagine themselves in any other role. The challenge is they're wrong. The days of being able to have a successful career in information security and being the superhero, the iconoclast, the cyber ninja are over. Can you get a job doing it? Absolutely. Will you ever be a manager or a director or a CISO? Nope. Not anymore. The Muggles need us. Okay? They really, really do. They need our help. We need their money, their staff, and their ability to run organizations effectively. Because I will be honest, if you simply look at the way this conference got organized, information security people should not run organizations. Okay? Seriously. So you have a choice. Do you go to the dark side? Do you keep trying to be the cyber ninja? Do you keep trying to be the iconoclast? The iconoclasts are really the one that scare me, right? Or do you realize as a wizard, your job is to be able to talk to Muggles in ways they understand and help them? Now, my hope is you join this band. You come on this journey I'm taking me and my folks on, because we're in a very weird time in information security. For years, when I first got into this, CISOs complained what? We don't have a seat at the table. The business doesn't listen to us. And it was true. It really was. Guess what they do now? I meet with my COO every month for 2 hours. Right? I have a seat at the table. A lot of my peers have a seat at the table. Unfortunately, too many of my peers have no idea what to flip and do with it. All right? Because they're still in superhero mode. Or worse, they're iconoclasts. Okay? This is me. If this resonates with you, I would love to talk with you more about it. More importantly, if this doesn't resonate with you, I want to know who you are. That way, if I ever see you post on a job for me, I can simply move it to the other side. Because this is the path of information security going forward. It really is. We can't be what we've been to the outside world. Now, internally, we are a messed up family, right? And I wouldn't have it any other way, right? But when we start talking with the people out there, we have to talk to them differently. So with that, thanks very much. We have a little bit of time for questions. Anyone? Anyone?
So when you went in and gave a presentation to your CEO and said, this is our priorities, did you come from a healthcare background that you were able to do that?
I joined Northside about 10 months ago. Before that, I spent 3.5 years at Wellstar Health System here in town. Prior to that, my experience with the healthcare system was taking my kids to pediatric EDs. That's one of the things you have to learn. Because everyone's mission is different. I'm looking at Andrew and Phil, right? They're in a totally different industry, and the business mission is different than mine. But knowing the two of them, they're aligning themselves with the mission of the business. That's what you have to do. There's another question over here. Andy.
Does that actually help you or can help?
Yes. Next question. Oh yeah. You're like in the 6th level of hell. So these are even in higher education, right? So there's sort of like this balance between healthcare, between education, running a quality education, and security, privacy, yeah. I only know one person who has it worse, and he's the CISO for Emory. So he's got the university, and he's got a hospital. Yeah. So again, I guess at the end of it is, you look at the institution, right? And you look at what their goals and values are, right? And you have to map what you're doing to that. And if your top 2-3 missions don't exactly mirror the organization's, you're disconnected, right? And you'll never be able to get the credibility and the traction and the collaboration you really need, want, and deserve. Yes, sir.
Well, in terms of medical being a regulated profession, both from the medical side and now from the HIPAA regulations, do you find that they're getting the message from the medical side?
Okay. So let's talk. So the question was around HIPAA.
Well, not just HIPAA,
But
it's
regulation. So here's the challenge. Most of the regulations in healthcare go toward the privacy and confidentiality of data points. And most healthcare providers, I think, are doing a horribly reasonable job of it. The challenge is, the thing that I'm most worried about in biomedical is regulated by the FDA. The FDA's drive for regulating medical devices until very recently was efficacy. Does the device work? And in a sterile environment, can you guarantee me it won't hurt somebody? And that's how they test it. Well, hospital environments are not sterile. Not even the ED is. That's why people get passed. The challenge, and the FDA is working with the National Healthcare ISAC, and I'm joining that working group, to talk about how do we harden these biomedical devices. The problem is there are literally millions of them in place right now that can't be upgraded, can't be patched. They cost literally trillions of dollars to replace, and most of your community healthcare providers do not have the financial wherewithal. Even if new hardened devices were available, they couldn't afford to replace them.
I meant more like from the medical ethics perspective.
Oh,
Are they
no.
beginning to talk from the people side, from the medical side? Are they beginning to talk to doctors about the importance of this area?
I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. Yes, those conversations. So the conversations are happening with physician leadership. In my world, we talk with physician leaders and explain to them what's going on. And there are physicians who are just naturally more attuned to technology, and they get very interested in it. Some of them don't. It's like any organization. Where they generally all get concerned is there are certain aspects of compliance where physicians are held individually and severally liable. Understand though that the malfunctioning of a biomedical device is not medical malpractice, which is what they're mostly concerned about.
Okay.
You mentioned that for those XP1 boxes
Hmm?
that you can't patch,
Right.
that you're learning some other mitigating controls. Is that something that you can talk about and share?
Not right now. The question was with the XP Service Pack 1 embedded devices, can we share what we're doing? No. We have NDAs in place with a couple of people, but my goal is to, by the end of the year, be able to actually publish something. Other questions? Sir?
So would you say that you have like a leadership role, and I imagine many other hospitals have that same issue with XP devices?
Oh yeah, here's the thing. Did you guys know that XP Service Pack 1 embedded is still supported by Microsoft? You can still buy stuff with that.
Which one had to?
Yeah, so it's one in. And it has a 15-year depreciation schedule.
A lot of places with that still, and getting more.
So overall, I think the way in the end, when you come here, what we're going to do is much like if you ever talk with Tom Wilson and his team from the Southern Company, the way that they're protecting the SCADA systems of the nuclear plants is you essentially create a separate control network that is completely access controlled, as secure as you can possibly make it. That's where all those devices live. Then you have an administrative network for the rest of it. End of day, that's how things are going to have to work with us, because we just can't replace all these devices. Other questions? It's fantastic. Thank you. All right. So what I want to do, Chris, you got CFP results?
We did.
CFP. CTF. All right, so we've already been talking about CFP for the next BSidesATL. That's why I've got it on the line. So let me